All right, welcome back to another episode of Movie Howl. This time we're talking about, again, something more recent, and that's what I've wanted to do is get a little bit more recent. And I was thinking about some of these movies that we've been seeing on Netflix that I don't think get any hype. I don't see any advertisements for them. Kind of like the Dracula show that we discussed. This is something I found because I saw a YouTube short where Adam Sandler looks a little homeless, a little disheveled in space with a giant 5-foot talking spider. So I had to know what that was. I thought it might be AI, but it actually looked too good to be AI. And it's apparently a Netflix original movie called Spaceman. So I watched it one day when I was home alone. And
then he made me watch it. And here we are.
Absolutely no such thing. But when Joe said, I'm Ryan, that's Joe, by the way. When Joe said that he watched it, it's like, well, let's talk about that. It's something recent we've both seen. I seen it a couple weeks ago. You just saw it. Mm-hmm. So what's your take?
Well, I will agree with you about what you said with the Netflix and just finding things. I have found several Nicolas Cage movies like that are just super low low budget, under the radar. Were really pretty good. Some ones that I really enjoyed. But this movie, I'm just going to save everybody a lot of time and effort. Short review of Movie Howl. This is Click in Space. Adam Sandler and Christopher Walken for Click. Adam Sandler, giant space spider, spaceman. But otherwise, you see one, you see the other.
It's kind of true, yeah. So the plot of the movie is there's something, I forget what do they call it? There's some anomaly in space, and it's near Jupiter.
It is.
And for some reason,
the Chopra, I believe they call it the Chopra.
Poland and South Korea are the ones.
Czechoslovakia.
Oh, Czechoslovakia. You're
Czechoslovakia.
Right. My bad. Ooh, we almost caught shade from
right. No, not the Polish community.
Anyway,
I love that sausage. Don't you dare dishevel that name. How dare you? We apologize, Poland. Okay.
Anyway, you're right. Czechoslovakia, and it is, or the Czech Republic. What are they called now?
Well, they said Czechoslovakia.
Okay, we should have researched it, or I should have. It's a little unbelievable that those are the two countries that are heading for this thing. I don't know what year this is supposed to be.
No, I absolutely agreed with that. That I thought was a very comical aspect of this. Like,
I was like, I believe the spider almost more than I believe this.
Yes.
And then I was like, no, I do believe it more than this. That for some reason, like, it's not the U.S., Britain, Russia.
Yeah, China. One of the big ones.
The Czechs.
Maybe it's just a matter of this anomaly that they're going to investigate. The rest of us didn't think it was important enough to do it.
Well, and the weird thing I thought about it was the ad reads. Because he's on this vessel alone, going to investigate whatever this is, try to collect the sample of this anomaly that's moving through. And, there's like a point where he sees the spider for the first time. He's like, I need to initiate sanitization process. And they're like, okay, you have to say the thing. And he's like, Braxo soap is the greatest. Blah, blah, blah.
Disinfectant,
whatever
effective,
whatever the soap brand is, like, he has to say a thing. And then whenever he does video calls and conferences, like talking to kids, like school children and stuff, he has to do ad reads. Basically, he has to be like, thanks for our sponsor, League of Legends or whatever. No, what is the one? Clash of Clans, right?
Clash of Clans.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's just why it's odd because that's very much something that you would do. I feel like if it was an American ship going up and not the Czech one. And other than that, the technology is very 60s looking. Like very much looks like the Apollo mission, stuff like that. Like the phones are all super old school, except his wife, who has like a space phone booth in her house so that she can contact him.
Yep.
And then she ignores it, which I love. I love it. I love the engineering and technology that goes into like a subspace real-time phone that she then doesn't answer. Like I saw this thing on Rooster Teeth a long time ago where they were saying, how would you explain, it was an ongoing thing. How would you explain this to a caveman? And they were saying, how would you explain a modern phone? And they said, I put words into the box and then the box turns the words into air and then your box grabs that air and turns it back into words and then you ignore it.
To ignore it.
And they're like, okay, we spent $1 billion creating this phone system so that his wife can ignore him. And then, not a spoiler, she's not happy with him. Yeah, it's definitely not a spoiler because he said this is Click.
Yeah.
His wife is displeased. One sympathizes. And
Well, I mean, that's debatable, so we can get into that. But
she
all
wants
right.
to divorce him. She wants out. And Adam Sandler's just like this depressed...
Spaceman.
Yeah, he's a depressed spaceman. He's
a cosmonaut.
It's an
like
odd...
He's
yeah,
out there.
it's a cosmonaut. Yeah, they talk about him growing up in like the Soviet Union, so it's got to be...
I don't know about in the Soviet Union, but
I thought he specifically talked about it being Soviet when he was a little kid. I don't know. Because that would put it...
I feel like the whole thing, he was like proud to do this for his country.
Yeah.
But very like his childhood wasn't great.
Yeah, his father was very strict, very much like a... So maybe it's his dad would grow up in the Soviet Union and that influenced his behavior. But go on.
There were... So I was forming opinions about this immediately with some of the choices they made and how it was playing out. As the movie progressed, I was proud of myself for allowing myself to be open to having my opinion changed, which was nice. I feel like the opinion that I took immediately was his wife is a bitch. He's the one who's out in space. He's the one who's away from the 7 point some odd billion, whatever it is, billion people on the planet. He's the one who's away by himself.
Yeah.
And she's the one who's like, I'm alone, man. And I was super heavy into that side, and I'm like, well, okay, slow it down. Let's see. Do they give us background? What built up? And the way the story builds out, it was very interesting. I think I appreciated the arc of where it started, where it ended. I think there's some things in this that are really grounded in what a relationship is. Like, that's what this movie's about. It's about the relationship between these two individuals, Jaska and Lenka, which, I mean, that's not a Czechoslovakian name. Like, my goodness. And this was, I don't know if you've seen it, Uncut Gems by Adam Sandler.
No, my brother's been recommending that, but I haven't seen it yet.
I think this was very similar to that in the seriousness of the character and the fact that I felt like in that he was also trying to do something like, I'm trying to do this thing for my family, but it's like he's making bad decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, similar in the fact he's playing a serious character, not necessarily similar in the movies, because the decisions that he made that got him to the edge of space, as we know, as far as we have gone as humans to do the scientific research.
Everybody's ever gone.
Right, to do the scientific, and they don't get into any of it, which is fine. I don't need he was in space cryo sleep, and then he had to wake up, and then there's a few little technical, we're doing this with the cloud, and we're interacting, and there's some very minute technical things, but that's not what this is about. And it was, I mean, okay, we already mentioned there was a space spider in this. At first when you watch it, it's a very big question of, is it real, is it not real? Mm-hmm. And if you want to know, is it real, is it not real? Because in the trailers, whatever, you see it. You see there's a thing. But is it his mind? He in space for a long time? Is he crazy? If you want to know the answer, I don't really want to spoil that. You can watch it, find out for yourself. I think people can make comparisons with this kind of movie to other, I guess you would say, trying to be very serious space exploration movies. The one like
Interstellar.
Like Interstellar, potentially, but I never saw Interstellar. I wanted to, never actually saw it. I was thinking maybe
it's
something like Contact with Jodie Foster from way back in the day.
Yeah, that was the other one I was thinking of. Interstellar, he's away from his daughter. Like, his daughter's basically growing. You've seen the meme, like, this movie was going to cost us
so many years. Yeah.
That's a big part of it, is he's like trying to do this thing to save Earth, trying to find a new place for them to be. But he's only doing this for a little while from his perspective, but he's getting these messages from Earth, and his daughter's 10, and then she's 15, and then she's 20. And he's like, going through a lot.
That's a lot. And so my original perspective on this is you have this man who's doing this thing. He's doing it in service of his country, for his family, for everything. That's the whole thing.
And it's his passion.
Mm-hmm.
Through the flashbacks, it's showing him being like, this is who I am, this is what I want to do, this is what I've wanted to do my whole life. And she knew that.
Mm-hmm,
when they first meet, he's wearing a spaceman costume. He's wearing a spacesuit costume, yeah. So it's like he's never hidden who he was.
Not at all. Yeah. But the way the story turns out, how they get to where it ends up going in this, as far as him and why he chose to be the person that he is, that how we find this character. I think it's very interesting. I really did end up appreciating it much more than I expected to. It's kind of a very unique love story in its own right, and it's a unique movie, and I really appreciated that about what I watched. When we are in the era of remakes and things that are just horrific, we have these big companies, and I'm sorry, we're calling out Disney on this one for the atrocious things and decisions they've made with major intellectual properties, whether it's Star Wars, Marvel, their own movies that they're remaking and destroying.
Oh, like Lilo and Stitch?
That's the most recent example. But all of them, all of those remakes, with the possible exception of, number one, The Jungle Book, that I actually liked. Directed by Jon Favreau. It was one of the very first remakes. It was probably the first Disney live-action remake that I watched, and it was fantastic. Christopher Walken is the orangutan, King Louie.
That might have been the first one.
Super good. I don't know that it was. I think maybe like Enchanted or something like that. Whatever. It was the first one I saw. I actually liked it more than I liked the cartoon original. It was Idris Elba as Shere Khan. It was really, really well done. The rest of them have been trashed. Beauty and the Beast, all these other ones, and they're just getting worse.
Yeah, your daughter was telling us that in Lilo and Stitch they actually changed
so much.
The ending of the movie to the point where it's significantly changed it's basically inverted the moral lesson of the first one.
Absolutely, 100%. And this, it's not remakes. And it's not a sequel, a continuation of the Fast and the Furious or these other Mission Impossible that we just watched. It's its own thing. Now, it's not decidedly unlike other things that have played out. There have been relationship movies. There have been space and weird shit happens movies. But I enjoyed this. It was nice to see Adam Sandler in something where he wasn't all like, whoopity-doo! Yeah. Like, I was waiting for one. I was waiting for a whoopity-doo.
No,
but
he's so depressed and just like, I'm doing everything I can is what I'm getting from him the whole time. He's like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, we knew what we were getting into. I don't understand what's going on. I just want to talk to my wife. And it's a really small movie. It's just Adam Sandler, Paul Dano Spider, Raj Koothrappali, whatever that actor's name is, from Big Bang, as his like contact on Earth.
Oh, is that who that is?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I did not realize that was him.
And then the wife. And that's pretty much it. They're back.
There really is. There's a couple of other characters, but that's it. And one of those characters has I think it's one of the more poignant moments in the movies. It's pointed, and it's meant to be. And there's a scene where, his wife, who's unhappy with him, he's out in space, be gone almost 6 months, whatever it is.
Yeah.
She's pregnant. So this is very hard. And I did have to try to temper my understanding of, I think she's being a very bad wife. She's not sticking by her man who's out doing this thing for humanity. I really felt that it applied to our servicemen who go across, like, most people aren't going into space, but servicemen go away, and it's the same thing for the wives who are left here and the families who are left here, that it takes a very strong person. Our cousin is now one of them, who is going to be an army wife or a military wife. And your partner, or even a husband, however it works, and your partner's gone. And you are holding down the house, and that is a very tough thing. And compounded on the fact that she's pregnant, so kind of like teenagers, the hormones are going nuts. Like, it's to be the strong enough person to just, nope, I'm sticking by my man, and I'm doing this. That's why even though I had an initial gut reaction to what I'm seeing there, I'm like, let's watch this play out. And I ultimately appreciated where it ended up going. But what I was saying was, there's a point where his wife doesn't want to be with him, and it seems like the leader of the space program that he is Adam Sandler's character's
Raj
part of.
brings her in to be like, here's the problem, here's what's going on. I don't know what to do.
And she goes and talks to his wife.
And it's important to mention, in case we're not communicating that, he's like falling apart. because he's not able to contact her.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like, oh, there's a problem with the system, whatever. Like it's just not working. You know,
Our engineers are on it.
Yeah, we're trying to figure it out. In reality, they're like, please answer him. And she's like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah, she tries to send a message, and they saw the message and were like, we're not sending that to him.
Yeah, she sends him a breakup letter.
Dear John letter. That's right.
We're or at least it's at least grievances or whatever. They're like, no, this is not good. He's been alone for 6 months or whatever. You can't be doing this now.
And so this lady, who's the leader of the organization, goes and talks to her. And there's this thing about the silence that she's in the booth and he's in his spacecraft, and there's this silence. And she says, well, the silence is the point. Like, it's the fact that you two are both, you want to be together, you're apart from one another, you need to be there for one another while you're apart, and the fact that it's like when you can find someone, I took this to mean this, when you can find someone to share, like in Pulp Fiction, you can just share a comfortable silence.
Sure.
And you're okay with that I don't have to fill it with something, with just noise vibrations out of my face, that it's okay to just be, and that silence, the silence is the point. And I think that was they were trying to make that a very poignant part of the movie, and it was really, I think, one of the turning points for me of how I was really going to feel about this. And I thought this was it was very interesting. I enjoyed uncut gems with him and the serious character that he was, kind of like when Jim Carrey branched out and did the Truman Show,
right,
which was amazing. I was sorry he didn't end up doing more serious things. But he kind of did, and some of the ones he did were a little off the rail.
Like Me, Myself, and Irene?
No.
Off the rails?
No, there was another one, like an apartment one.
Oh, you mean serious ones?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just talking about off the rails.
No, that was.
He's also in Sonic now, which is so weird.
Okay, I mean, is it really though, the character? Oh,
I haven't seen any of them. But
yeah, me either.
Conceptually,
don't you dare make me watch one. Don't you do it. I will do, but I don't wanna. But this movie, from where I started feeling about the original, this wife character, to how that really pulled around, and it did. It had to do with making choices, and did he make the right choices in his life? What is important? And I think I really appreciate the way it turned around, and it was kind of a happy ending, not extraordinarily, but it was like a glimmer of hope. And one of the things that was talked about, that you have this entity, Hanush,
yeah.
Hanush,
which he doesn't have a name.
He doesn't.
He's like, would it feel better if I had a name? And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay, how about?
Well, then name me.
Yeah.
But one of the things that this entity is telling him is that I thought another poignant moment was, hope is your tribe. Like he was saying, people, human.
Yeah, he was saying that he's been studying humans for a while. Like, and he was going through space. He's possibly ancient.
A super ancient. Yes.
And had found Earth, and he was like, oh, the thing's weird about your planet is, and your species is hope.
Mm-hmm. But that's what it ultimately, he there's so much that builds up to that, though. Like, he says that towards the very end of the movie.
But he's like dripping these observations out constantly to the
Yes.
thing. And I really like that it's not Star Trek where he's just a human with shit on his head. That he's actually alien, but because I was thinking, like, why would they make him a spider? Because that's so unnerving. But I think that's the point, probably, is that it makes most people a little uneasy watching it, because we don't know how to read spider face. Like, I don't know what it's going to do. I was looking through comments on YouTube videos about it, like when I first saw that short, and they were saying, like, oh, that's predatory behavior, the way it, like, curls up in that corner when he first finds them, and then they're in, like, the mess hall sort of part of the ship, or pantry, I guess, is a better.
Yeah.
It's not really a mess.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. I go with that.
But yeah, just like curls up in this corner, and they're like, some of the comments are like, oh, his voice is like so soothing, but he's like in this curled up tense position and stuff. And I think that tension is part of the point, because you don't really know him, but by the end they're friends. Regardless of the differences, they come to understand each other pretty well.
To a degree. And it was this moment of, it was a growth character study in this young man who had these things happen to him when he was younger, but he ends up being this person who has this ultimately amazing opportunity. But what is he choosing to give up for that opportunity?
Yeah, and then the way throughout the movie, I was super on his side, on Adam Sandler's side. Like he's going through all this stuff. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's achieving these things. He's like giving, he's still putting on a brave face and talking to kids and stuff through like these Zoom calls, space Zoom, warp perhaps.
Spoon.
I don't like that. Nope, don't like that.
Don't. No, is that not?
But he's still doing that stuff, and then afterwards he's like, I just like drained, kind of a zombie, moving around, doesn't sleep right, taking these sleeping pills and things like that, and talking to the people back on Earth. We're like, yeah, your vitals look a little odd, or your health's not great because of this sleep thing you have going on, and they know it's stress because of his wife.
Yeah.
And what's going on. And I felt the same as you because I empathize with being in a position where you're under a tremendous amount of stress. But I like how throughout it, it's there's this mechanism by which Hanush is showing him, hey, remember that time you did this? That was kind of fucked up. Hey, remember the time you did that? Maybe that was a little selfish. And shows him, the areas where the relationship was good and where things maybe kind of went wrong. And at very first I was like, the spider thing is real. I don't know how it got in the ship, but it's totally real. And then halfway through it, I was like, I think he's just losing it because it's very convenient. Nobody ever
very
sees
convenient.
it.
Yep.
Nobody ever hears it. All they ever hear is him reacting to it. And you have like Raj on the space phone. It's like, what's going on? What are you doing? Who are you talking to? And he's like, oh, I'm just, talking to myself. I'm the only one up here to talk to, whatever.
I think it's a very interesting, almost an allegory of the fact that that's one of the best things you can do as a person to, if you want to call it healing from trauma, but facing up to it was really ends up, one of the things they talk about is truth. It's like you can't be afraid of the truth. And that people don't do this enough, especially now. It's actually getting, I think, worse and worse and worse, that people are always distracted. There's always something to flashy thing you and, distract. You don't have time to just sit down and think. That's why they talk about meditation, that taking, and I mean, whether you want to be a hippie and meditate, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. But it's taking time for yourself, saying, there's no distractions. I'm not going to listen to music. I'm not going to watch. I'm not going to read a book. I'm going to sit and I'm going to think. You have to take time to do that, to figure out how do you feel about how you actually feel about things. Thinking about and coming to terms with things that you have done in your past, because that's what's going to happen. Your mind is going to start, you give yourself time, it's going to start working, and it's going to start, that you see the memes about it. Oh, I'm just having a nice day. Oh, that memory, you're trying to go to sleep, that memory from, when you tried to ask that girl out in high school and you farted. But your mind will do that. It will take you to places that you don't want to go. And it's important for us as people to face that stuff. And that was part of, I think, what this movie was about, for sure.
Yeah, and I like your point personally, because I have been thinking about my photography hobby lately. Some of the issues that I've had with film and that whole industry and how things are going with that, because it's getting incredibly expensive. And I have a toddler who's very handsy, so having the chemicals to do everything myself is hard.
Not to mention a co-host who's handsy. So
anyway, I've just been thinking about, like, is this something I want to keep doing? Why do I do it? Like, what is the point? If I've taken, like, I looked at the shutter count on one of my cameras and it was like 13,000. Not a ton. A camera normally has a life of about 100. So it's like, how many of those images do I care about? How many are hung up on the walls? I'm looking at my walls. I've got like 40, 50 pictures that I can see. Most of them are taken with my phone because that's the camera that's on me. But then I started thinking about it more, and it's like, well, I really like capturing these moments for other people. Like, that's what makes me happy, is like seeing the look on somebody else's face when I show them the picture of them with their child or whatever. And part of it is like mindfulness, I guess you could say, of taking the time to find the picture, like going on a walk and figuring out what you want to do. And then, like you said, not focusing on anything else, not just super fast run and gun. So I tend to use older stuff because I have to think about, like, what do I want this to be? Do I want this to be the focus, that to be the focus? Do I want to isolate it from the background? Do I want it to all kind of come together, and it's really a meditative sort of process for a lot of people. And I was looking into that and kind of looking at some of these photography forums online, and there are a lot of people saying that. Like, I do astral photography because I just love being out in the middle of nowhere by myself, where there's no light
No
pollution.
light pollution,
So there's
absolutely.
No city, there's no
Yep.
people. I'm just out there by myself, and I feel like I'm this little tiny thing, like capturing this feeling of being part of something way bigger than me. Like, it's almost not like the picture is almost a byproduct.
It's that, I think that saying that particular anecdote of yours right there really ties into this movie and the fact that draws us. Space exploration, that's why we were out there. That's why this country who's sending him is racing the South Koreans. They want to get there first. They want to. Why getting there first? Why did us being get to the moon first matter?
We're gonna get all the cloud.
Look at all the clouds. Maybe it's that, but I don't want to spoil this movie. I don't want to talk too much about the end. I will say that I really think it does come around full circle. Even though I thought one thing in the beginning with this, it really changed my mind as to how I felt about it once more of the facts came out.
Yeah.
Now, and it wasn't a thing that I personally, because if I obviously start this with she's being a bitch, he's out there, working hard as a man, and you're not supporting him, that more red pill content right now leaning side.
Yeah.
And I said, nope, let's watch this. Let's see how this plays out. And it didn't end up, and I was afraid it was going to end up, well, she's super perfect, he's a piece of garbage, and it didn't necessarily end up like that either.
No.
So I really liked how it all kind of wrapped up in the end. It was this, if I'm just going to go there, this is a watch. It is, if you like Adam Sandler, do not go see this, do not pop it on Netflix thinking you're going to get Adam Sandler. This is not that. This is just somebody who you know from these other things as an actor playing a role that you are not used to seeing him in.
Totally not Mr. Deeds in Space.
It is not Mr. Deeds.
He doesn't act like he does in Click either.
No.
It's just a little bit of a similar plot, which I did not really notice before.
That's what I'm here for, man. That's why I'm here.
Yeah,
that's why I came. But I'm calling this a watch. I don't really want to get into any more thoughts about it. I think without spoiling anything, this is a watch. It is worth turning on if you've already got Netflix. I'd almost say, you know what? I know we jump around to these platforms. Oh, I'm going to have Netflix for a while. I'm going to cancel them and I'm going to do something else. When your rotation of Netflix comes around, or if you're thinking about it, now might be the time, because I don't know how long it'll be there. Maybe it'll always be there because it's Netflix original. I don't know how they're going to do those.
Yeah, because Disney came out with one called Crater or something that I read about, where they released it and then it was gone in like a week.
I'll take your word. No idea.
It was their original property and it was just out and then gone. It was kind of one of these, it was like an article that was saying basically, wow, there was a whole movie that all these people worked on that meant a lot to somebody, and no one will ever see it because they put it out and then pulled it back without any way of you being able to get a hold of it, unless you take to the high seas potentially.
Yeah,
maybe somebody was able to capture it.
I mean, I'm sure somebody did, but I call this a watch. I thought this was good. I enjoyed the ride this took me on. This is a serious movie. It's a little poetic, I would say. Out of some of the movies that we watch, I think it's saying something that's worth hearing right now.
Sure.
And so that's why I'm calling this a watch.
Well, and something I've said because of somebody I used to date as a caution is every story sounds good when you're only hearing one side of it. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody can sound good in their version of the story. And this is very much about compromise and learning to understand both sides or something. And I agree. It's definitely, from that perspective, a moral lesson that we could use right now. Although it is kind of funny to watch people get offended by stuff.
It is. It is always funny
I was telling you earlier that I was listening to some music and I had some music videos playing and my daughter came out and started dancing around to Ghost, which is like, they're definitely making fun of the church or something. All their stuff is like satanic, but that's not really like what they believe. As far as I'm aware, they're doing it to mock like some of this extravagant, over the top, organized religion type stuff. And I saw one of these YouTube, I don't want to call him a grifter, but I know a lot of people would, but he's one of these like conservative Christian whatever, and I saw this little thing pop up that was, It was some title like Mary on a Cross, which is one of the songs that I really like by them. I have no idea what the meaning of it is. I don't understand. There's a line that says, I will tickle you internally. It's like, there's no way I'm hearing that right. And I finally looked up the lyrics. That's what they're saying. They're from Sweden. I don't know if they just, that didn't translate well. Either way, he's like, this is blasphemous, and I don't know. I've been hearing about this song for a while. I don't know. It's not Matt Walsh. That's not why I'm doing that voice.
Okay.
It's somebody else, but he's like, I don't know how long I'm going to last through this. We'll see. It's really horrible, and it's sacrilegious and all these other things. And I just decided to click on the comments and see what people were saying about it. And the top comment was, in other news, local man discovers hard rock for the first time, and other stuff like that. This guy just put on an album called Seven Stages of Satanic Panic, and now is satanic panicked.
Okay.
And all this stuff. And then somebody was like, oh, he's clearly never been tickled internally. But it's like, it's funny sometimes to see people react because it's funny, but really, we should probably be a little bit more understanding. Kind of like when I think it was Mal Walsh or somebody went off about Bluey. But I don't understand this. This is just, how can adults like this stuff? It's like, well, you don't understand it. You don't have to shit on it because you don't understand it.
I mean, that's what we do.
That will never stop us from shitting on stuff because we're hoping it's funny.
It's the idea. This was not a funny. This did not have like comedic moments. It wasn't about that.
No, wherever was one of the darkest points in your life, if you can think about it, that's how Adam Sandler looks through most of this movie.
It really is.
He looks like whatever the worst thing you can think of is. He just went through that, or we got a call from somebody who was like, "Oh, your dog just went through that.
Yeah,
like your dog just got laid off and arrested on the way home from work." Like I agree, totally a watch. I really enjoyed it. I didn't think I would. It was just, again, I had a couple hours at home alone, and I had seen the YouTube short, decided to pull it up, and I really enjoyed it. I never, though, got completely over the spider thing. Like seeing the giant spider on screen, it's like, it makes you want to take a shower the whole time.
I enjoyed Hanush. I thought it was good.
I thought Hanush was really charming and funny in a lot of places. Some of the stuff that he has these character things that he does. Like he loves Nutella.
Yep.
And
it's soothing.
And it's the hose for the toilet, for the space toilet, the sound that it makes.
Right.
It's broken.
The vibration.
Yeah, he finds it soothing. So he sleeps in the bathroom holding the space toilet urinal thing.
Yep.
I assume that's what that is. I can't imagine
what
else she would do with a hose that.
No, that's exactly what that is, without question. The cup on the end of it, that's what that is.
But yeah, they managed to really give everybody a good personality and a good arc.
It was good. So, movie Hooligans. We hope you enjoyed us talking about this. Didn't want to drag it out too long. I tried to make it real short, but he had to let me talk about it after click. So yeah. It is more than that. This was good. You should all watch it. Hit us up, socials, moviehowl.com, moviehowl@gmail.com. That. Ask us questions.
Yeah, and we're on everything.
We're on everything.
We're everywhere. I think we're on Odyssey. I tried to sync us with Odyssey. We should be on Rumble. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We should be on whatever. Video, audio, whatever you want if you don't want to look at it.
Find us on YouTube. Comment. Let us know what you thought. To give us a movie to watch. Hey, you assholes haven't watched this movie. Go watch this. We'll go watch it. And then we'll, give our take on it.
Then we'll not understand it and shit all over it.
Exactly. That's what we will do. Unless we do understand it, and then we'll still maybe shit all over. I don't know.
We'll pretend we don't.
We'll see what happens. But all I know is I've been Joe.
I've been Ryan.
We're out.